everybody, GravyTrain here with another episode of GravyTraining. This one is for the Build a Bun event, and this is by request. So what I'm going to do is talk about the different options for each of the bunnies and what you should be thinking about to go for. There's not really a best build, and the abilities are kind of limited. So we'll just kind of talk through what the implications of each one of these things are. So first of all, you can rebuild these at any time. Just costs eggs. So I'll start with the yellow bunny. So you pick an ability and then 2 passives at each stage. So you pick a total of 3 abilities and then 6 passives. The first one, Energize. This comes from Zen, and this gives all allies 2 energy, electric skin, and boost crit. So electric skin is going to be nice, and the yellow hero in general is really good for honor-bound type teams or synergy with Jin. The electric skin is going to be nice because then Jin will do follow-ups, etc. Plus 2 energy is always good, and boosting crit. Safe Haven here. This one is not from Zen. This is from Echo. This one is from Zen. Safe Haven. This one removes all debuffs from an ally and gives them invincibility for 1 turn. So against the current meta, that's actually pretty decent. It's not going to protect you against dragons with chaos damage, but it will help against like Dagon and stuff like that, as long as they're not doing basic attacks or epic attacks, which are spawned from basic attacks, and they don't have shield piercing, then this will be really good. And then Lightning Fury, this actually does surprisingly good damage. 3 melee physical attacks on each enemy. So not only that, but you're attacking all of the enemy team. This can actually be especially good if you have, say, abilities that give you Shocking Touch, which there's this down here later, or things that like you burn on touch or disease touch or anything like that, because you're going to be hitting across, well, actually, although the touch effects only work on basic attacks for the most part, so maybe not quite as great, but still decent damage. And if you don't have any use for this stuff, that's a good option, or you want to make them more attack oriented. So this one, the only actual choice for this first round is always going to be fast. Yeah, you don't want to be slow. There's no benefit. There's no benefit between magical and fast. Always take fast. And this is going to be these are going to be the same across all the bunnies, and it's going to be the same choices. Like, you get all these same choices no matter what at each stage. It's not like the Jerry's where you might get this group or you might get a different group or whatever. These are the only things. Always take fast. The elemental passive, Electric Field, chance to shock melee attackers, and a chance to shock on attack. So this one actually is just on attack, not on basic attacks. So for this, if you had a combination of these two, it would actually work out real well. I'm going to keep this for this hero for now. So Electric Field is good. Beloved is kind of meh. When this hero is killed, all allies will attack the killer. Like, who cares? You don't want your heroes to die. Veil of Voltage, so this one is actually pretty decent. All light and honor-bound allies gain 10% damage reduction and gain +1 energy whenever they deal damage to a shocked enemy. You can really start cranking energy if you have, because this is Jin's ability. This one is Zen's ability, and this one is Jibber's ability. With this one, you can actually start really stacking up the damage reduction and the energy boost and everything like that. So for me, however, I'm going to go with the Electric Touch. These are, all three of these are hopper abilities. It really doesn't, like, this one is not generally as good. Um, Bite that lowers enemy attack is decent, and two bites that wound and then add evasion. Of the three, I think this one's best. The bite damage isn't going to do much, but this one does wound and evasion. So it gives your hero or your bunny evasion and wounds your target, which reduces healing or stops healing. So I generally will go with this one of these three. Um, these passives, this is from, I think two heroes have this. You're talking about Marrow and you're talking about Lumen. So any character doing damage to this hero will lose energy. Allies can't be slowed. I know Marrow has that. I don't know if it doesn't necessarily stop you losing energy, but it will slow, or it will make sure that allies can't be slowed, so they can't be moved down with. There's only a few slow effects, but Angelic. So this is from Emily. Impervious, can't be poisoned, burned, frozen, chilled, and venom, shocked, or diseased. This is decent, and this is a decent choice as well. And then finally, Honorbound, and this is from the Honorbound family. This hero is Honorbound and takes less damage from AoE attacks and buffs applied to this hero last additional round. This is great. Of the three, none of these are bad, and depending on what you need for your hero, Angelic could be decent. I would say, though, the order of from least good to most good is going to be Angelic, the negatively charged, to Honorbound. Although probably these two are going to be slightly less. I mean, Angelic might in some cases be better than the second one. And then Honorbound is, I think, the best overall because you're going to get synergy with Jin, you're going to get synergy with Yan Lo. Just in general, that's going to be the most utility. Sorry if I seem a little distracted. I'm getting work messages popping up. So legendary passive, and this is still the second ascension, epic darting defense. So if you think you're going to be facing a lot of ranged attacks, allies take 25% reduced damage from basic and epic attacks. Ranged allies take 50% reduced damage from basic and epic attacks. So it's not bad. You dare challenge me means you're basically immune to taunt and provoke and aversion, and you do bonus damage versus taunting allies. Not bad. So either one of these two are decent. I think the only real choice here, though, is Epic Lead by Example. Allies will follow up any attack made by this hero with a basic attack. So this is Valken's ability. So yeah, you can actually have like almost your entire team leading and causing follow-ups from all the other heroes. So of these choices, this one is probably the best. And the third round, if you want to do damage, then Tooth and Nail is Valken's third ability, or third special. This one is decent. Although you're not going to get anything about 2 War, so that's kind of like meh. But it is armor piercing and gives Unbreakable Heart for what that's worth. Terror Tooth is kind of like meh, not really worth it at all. The best choice here for the yellow hero is going to be Enlightenment. Heal an ally and give them haste and increase their speed for 1 turn. So it makes a hero fast if they're not already, and they get 2 attacks and dodge. So of these, so there's a couple of decent ones. Actually, all 3 of these are decent, but to be fair. These are all from Hopper. So Rabid is a chance to disease melee attackers and a chance to disease on bite attacks. This is, if you're going to do a combo with the lightning hands or whatever that was in the first thing. This is a really good way to stack on extra effects because it's all bite attacks, which is your basic attack and your most of your other like that second round ability was a bite attack, etc. So you're going to get that on quite a bit. So this is a really strong option. Insatiable is actually really good too. Gains max HP on bite attacks. Although now that I'm reading it, it's not as good as I thought. You're gaining max HP, so your total max hit points goes up, but you're not actually gaining. I was thinking you got back to max AP, like healed fully, but now that I'm reading it, that is not the case. On bite attacks and gains energy on critical bites. So, meh, of the three, not as good. And then this one is great. Happy ending, removes enemy corpses and heals for each corpse removed. This is a perfect way to deal with Elrakis. So you're not going to get that end of round if he's dead or anything like that. This is the Hopper ability that just devours corpses. Of these, for this hero, I'm going this round, so I'm going the touch, so I'll have both shocking touch and disease touch. These last ones are not great. So Gladiator, when this hero kills an enemy, they gain Warcry. This hero especially is not going to kill enemies, so you're going to gain attack, defense, and skill, plus you regenerate at the end of each round. Meh, not really great. Warrior Heart, so if you're going to be running heroes like Valken, Archon, Agnon, heroes like that are warriors with this hero, then this one is perfect. 40% health is great, but not really. If you're not going to be, like, if you're going to be running it with Yan and Jin and stuff like that, then this is not going to be great, or with dragons or anything else. Like, those aren't warrior heroes, so that won't do you any good. The bunnies are no class at all. They're just bunnies or monsters. And then Mystical, boosted damage versus tanks and slow targets. You're very rarely going to encounter tanks. You're very going to rarely encounter slow targets. So at this point, I mean, probably Gladiator, even though it's like not that great. You're at least going to regenerate health at the end of each round. And that is the Light Bunny. So let's now step back and we'll go through the Water Bunny. The Water Bunny has got some interesting possibilities here. So for its signature ability or its first attack, you can do Arctic Assault, melee water attack. This is from Igorok. Water attack on a target and 2 random enemies. Increased damage greatly on a chilled or frozen target. The problem is, typically you will not be doing this against chilled or frozen targets, so it's kind of meh. Northern Gale, this is from Selwind. Ranged water attack on all enemies with a chance to freeze. This one is actually decent. The damage is decent as well. And freezing is always good. But you've got a lot of heroes that are immune to freeze right now. I prefer Snow Day from Grognog. So it's a ranged water attack on all enemies that creates a blizzard, or buffing defense. So your entire team, or no, you get buffed on your defense. May be consumed to modify special abilities, starts powered. I think this actually goes on your whole team. Your whole team gets the defense buff. So you get a defense buff, it does a decent amount of damage, and yeah, I mean, of the three, if you prefer to go heavier damage, then you're going to go Northern Gale. If you think somehow like you're running an all-water team, you could get away with Igorok's ability, but most likely I just go Snow Day for the extra defense. General passive, once again, no contest, fast, straight up. For this one, this ability is Sir William's, so you can't be feared and have a chance to jump in front of a single target attack that would be killing blow against an ally. You're almost never going to, like, unless you're building this hero tanky, which I don't see you doing, you're not going to ever use this ability. It really kind of comes down to Cyclone Barrier, which is from Selwyn. Reflects 50% of range damage back at the attacker. Start of each turn will cleanse 1 debuff on the self. So this is definitely a viable option. And this one comes from Nitpick, or Ice Pick. This is Ice Pick. gets a Aegis shield every time they get damaged. So for attacks that hit multiple times, popping an Aegis shield every time you take damage is going to be helpful. So of those, I'm probably going spontaneous cover. With the current meta, I think that's probably the best. This is decent if you're going up against a lot of dragons and ranged heroes. So if you anticipate fighting dragons, Cyclone Barrier is probably better. But spontaneous cover, especially since dragons are going to tend to have taint or chaos damage. So second ability, none of these are all that great. This is Yasmin's ability, recover a bit of health for the whole team. So this is just an AoE heal. Ankle bite, melee physical, bite attack that lowers the enemy's attack. I mean, that's so decent. And bite attack with a chance to mark the enemy. So this one is kind of meh. Of these, I would probably just go with ankle bite. So elemental passive, insulated woolies. Cannot be frozen, chilled, or frostbitten. It's decent. Frostbite taunt. I don't even know how you would use this, because unless they just start taunting, this is actually, I think this is Igorok, or I can't remember which taunt this is. There's a couple of similar taunts like this. Yeah, taunts. I don't know how this is even a thing. And then Waterheart increases health by 20% for all water allies. That includes this hero. If you're going to be running multiple water allies, then definitely Waterheart. Otherwise, Insulated Woolies is probably your best bet. Finally here, You Dare Challenge Me. We already talked about that one. Epic Shatter Team, really not worth it. The only option here is Epic Lead by Example. Once again, you're going to be able to get follow-ups from all your basic attacks. So this one here, not really great choices. Tooth and Nail, this is Valken's third. We talked about that one. Let It Snow. This is the one from Ice Bloom. This will also freeze your team. So probably not so great unless you're running heroes that are immune to freeze. And I think it has a pretty high chance to freeze, so it might be better than some others if you have freeze immunity. And then Cure Wounds, heals a single ally and removes 2 debuffs. This is Yasmin's as well. Probably go for Tooth and Nail. The Bunny passive, so remove enemy corpses. This is the Hopper corpse stomping thing. And Chance to Disease, I'll probably, especially since I took Chance to Disease here, I'll take Hoppy Ending from this hero. Class passive, 40% health for tank allies, warrior allies, or healer allies. This really is just whatever you're going to be running with it. So you're probably not going to be running tanks or very few tanks, if any, warriors or healers. There's no option with any of these for casters. So I am probably go warrior in case I use this hero, but there's not a lot of reason to use the blue bunny, really, unless you're doing an all-blue team. So, and then it would probably be healer or warrior. Then, if you're running Valken with your team, this is a good choice to go with Valken. And that's the blue bunny. So green bunny. So the choices here. This is Lily's second ability, Pollen Cloud, is a ranged nature attack on all enemies. It grants evasion and buffs defense for all allies. Grows allied plants. This is a decent choice. This is Lily's Sapping Vines, her first ability. And this is Mushroom guy. Can't remember his name right now. This is his first ability that gives haste to all nature allies and a chance to dodge to all allies. And it grows allied plants. I can't believe I can't remember his name. Fast, full stop. no real reason to go anything but. Increases attack by 15% for all nature allies. This is viable if you're going for a green heavy team. Genjutsu is 25% chance to parry. This is the Hansuke ability. Rocky is the mushroom. This is the Hansuke ability. Chance to parry and revenge attack after any single target attack. And then field dressing regenerates health every turn. I think a couple of heroes have this. I think Yasmin's one of them, and there's a few others that do. Just for defense or survivability, I'd probably go Kenjutsu unless I have a reason to go one of the others. And I probably meant to change that. Spore thing is actually decent because it gives evasion too. This one, once again, so this I think is the best of all of these because it adds evasion. So this hero will have two things that add evasion. For the elemental passive, really you've got two choices. I mean, technically you've got all three of these have their uses. If you're going a plant team, then plant growth is decent. Otherwise, don't worry about it. Oxidize sap, so this is going to give you extra damage to armored and construct enemies. Compared to this one, I don't think it's worth it. If you want to get that extra damage against armored heroes like dwarves and crap, then sure. But ultimately, blending in is I think, the absolute must-have for this ability. This is Sibyl's ability. Makes them immune to damage and silence during the first round. Can't be stolen, copied, or purged. So if you're going a plant team, Epic Rapid Regrowth is definitely a viable choice. Otherwise, lead by example. And the third round, so this is going to be Marrow's ability, and I believe Lumen also has this ability. Fully energize an ally and edit or crit for 3 turns. Very good. This is Valken once again, and this is the S3 from Lily. Honestly, probably for this hero, go with this because fully energizing a hero is going to be very strong. I will probably do Hoppy Ending. These were repeated from the other ones. But this is the one that removes corpses. This hero's job is going to be to survive for as long as possible and keep getting rid of corpses. And you can choose between healer, warrior, and tank. I'll probably do warrior because this hero would be likely to run with like Valken or other warrior type heroes. And that's the green hero. Finally, the Fire Bunny. Gonna make a joke, but I can't think of a safe for work joke for that. So, signature abilities: ranged fire attack, rains down on all allies, chance to burn. So. Ranged fire attack on all enemies with a chance to burn and slow non-flying enemies. This is the one that I like the best. Chance to slow enemies means if they're fast, they can become normal, or if they're normal, they can become slow. Maybe if they're fast, they become slow. I don't remember. But it's going to be damage-wise, they're all going to be on par, but this one has got the best possible outcome. This one is a physical bite attack on a target and 2 random allies with a chance to burn. I mean, this one's going to have a chance to burn, this is going to have a chance to burn, so this one isn't so great. I tend to stick with hot coals. Fast, hands down. Attacks ignore armor is meh. Fast, absolutely. So second wind gains 1 energy and haste after getting a killing blow. You're probably not going to get a bunch of killing blows, but you'll do damage. Attacks by this character deal extra damage to magical heroes. So this one is Koros' ability. This is not bad. Then Cloak of Fire. Allies gain immunity to burn and take 50% less damage from fire attacks. This is going to greatly reduce the damage you take from like Archon, mostly Archon, but yeah, so this one is probably decent. The boost to damage or to magical enemies, probably not that great. Same thing, we've already talked about all of these. Take, eat, and run. Elemental passives here. So you've got Pressure Cooker. This is Furnace's thing. So if he takes attacks by fire, he increases pressure. I don't know that this is that great. Um, Especially because in order to have it, you kind of need to have this other ability. But Fiery Soul, this hero has a wild and untamable soul, making them spirit and fire immune. Not terrible. Um, I wouldn't necessarily go for it over this though. Abs of Steel. This is Furnace's ability. I think all three of these are Furnace's abilities, but Abs of Steel. So you, unless somebody has shield piercing, your per hit damage inflicted will not exceed 20% of the max hit points. So they can, if there's no shield piercing, you have to hit them a minimum of 5 times to kill them. So not terrible, definitely worth, can survive an attack from Dagon or whatever with only 20% damage. And then making them spirit and fire immune, apparently you could get that twice. I don't know why that's the case. But once again, the only choice is lead by example. So this is the melee fire attack with a chance to burn, kind of like Valken's S3, and then Wrath of the Fallen, buff team attack and melee physical attack an enemy. If the target is killed, all enemies are feared. Hands down, this is the best because at the very least you're buffing team's attack. For this one, once again, I'm doing survival, so I want to get rid of corpses and get heals for getting rid of corpses. And 40% warrior. Oh, there is caster allies here. Caster Heart's probably the way to go here. Boosting casters, because there's so many good casters. And that's your fire hero. So hopefully this is helpful. Some general strategies, like you're not going to want to run all 4 bunnies as what you're doing. Like these characters are much better in support roles, so I would use them as kind of adding to a team. And adding synergies to a team, because a lot of these abilities kind of synergize with other things. So let's look at that, and yeah, it's pretty much what you're doing. There's not really a lot of value running teams. I mean, I can show you some of the things that I've been running, but I mean, it's really going to depend on what you're facing. So something like this, we're basically facing dragons with a strong initial push. I've been using the immune. I don't have to worry about using them. So probably something like, I mean, for caster damage, boom, these are casters. Yeah, see, he survived. I always expect Alrakis to die there, so that's not a big deal. Lost energy, but whatever. Yeah, see, I was able to take damage there because of the... What the heck? That's unexpected. Alright. I was able to take damage there because of shield piercing. Get rid of these corpses. I'm still gonna win. There we go. So, yeah, I mean, the rabbits aren't... if you're looking at them for specific things to, like, fill out a team, they can bring some utility, but don't look at them as, like, game-changing experience. So, anyhow, hope this was helpful. If you liked it, hit me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. We'll see you soon.